You know, ever since Alaska's been a state, they started putting up the state police here. They had to deal with criminals from the rest of the United States coming up here to disappear. Well, bad cops come up here too. They're called swine. They're garbage. Well, remember old Brian Glenn's come up here for the second time in Kotzebue. Now, Alaska State Troopers, you know, they kind of like mass killers, and I think I told that the other day how that mass killer up there in Anchorage there was going after the women there. But he only done 3 of the rest of them was all done by the Alaska State Troopers and blamed on him. Shit. So, anyways, they had trouble getting rid of the bodies, you know, so they wouldn't be found. Storing them. What they did with a lot of them, they just load them on the boats there and take them up the mouth of the river on outgoing tide there and feed them all to the sharks. And there's, of course, there's the ones that they had a little extra, I don't like you involved in there, you know, just feed them in there alive. It don't matter, the sharks take care of them. Well, you know, that got kind of hard to deal with there, so somebody come up with the bright idea, so, well, why don't we just take a wood chipper down to the river, run them through the wood chipper. The ones we don't like, we can run them through alive. Head feaster, feet first. Yeah. So they tried that out, and that worked pretty good. Well, the Alaska State Troopers taught the state of Alaska into buying them, like, I guess, 100 wood chippers. And they made little changes to them there, like they put a little clutch on the V-belt. They'd put extra pulley on the V-belt drive with a clutch on it, and they run a pressure washer off that, so they get done with it. Why, they get all the guts and bone chips and shit out of the works. So then they got these here, and they put them around the state. And what they'd do is they'd take around these villages, say, okay, well, you can use this, and we'll just store it there in your village, and then we'll bring our stuff down and dispose of our stuff down here. Okay. So that's how Kotzebue got theirs. Well, you remember a few years back where they found these bodies on mayor's property, these 2 women. You know, that's his sons, I guess, that was into that. They had this thing about killing women. And there was actually 5 bodies. They just reported 2. And then of course the police department never did even investigate it. Even though the coroner said one of them was strangled, while the police department said it was suicide. So, alright. Cool town, cool town. So they got this thing down there, but man, most of these guys ain't got the guts to run it. Much less clean it. So apparently they found out about Brian Glenn there through my videos, and yeah. So well, anybody that's into torturing old people is probably okay with sticking them into a wood chipper alive. So he used my videos there to track down where he's at, and he sent me email offering him a job. But Brian, he wasn't really crazy about running women and children through this thing, especially alive. So he said, well, I'll tell you what, he says, my little brother, he'll do it. All you gotta do is just not make him take his shirt off. He'd get kind of embarrassed about that. That's okay, he's in. So he goes and does the live ones and the children and women. Then Brian, he does the dead ones and the adults. Men. So that's what's kind of going on around here in Alaska. Sounds pretty crazy, don't it? Yeah. Well, you know what? And they sit there and let me, they're stupid enough to sit there and let me record them. Like Brian Glenn, he's sitting there saying, well, the state statute says I got to send him to the hospital, because can't move his legs and he's bleeding. And his supervisor says, it's just a friggin' nosebleed. Well, a nosebleed is enough to go to the hospital with here in Alaska. See, but old Brian, he knew he was in trouble for beating me. He let Joseph Miller, talk him in. He let those Miller talk him into doing it in the first place. Yeah, he is just Joseph Miller's new boy. Brian Glenn's going to pay for it. Well, Joseph Miller, he's paying already too. He out there, he sick the dog onto some guy, 300 and some stitches. A lot of them's in his face. Yeah. That's the guy, the trainer for Brian Glenn. So Brian Glenn, well trained. He fit in good in Kotzebue. Yes, sirree. That's right, you elderly and children, little girls, little boys in Kotzebue. Yeah. You better start bringing in some wheelchairs. Because that's what he likes to do, is put people in wheelchairs. And of course, if you resist, well, then he gets to shoot you. And then everybody say, yeah, next time, don't do it where it's in the newspapers, guys. Keep outside of town. Yeah, now what town you're going to hire a cop for your town? It's a guy with a gun. Going to look after your wives and children, babies. You're going to hire this guy. Aren't you going to do any background check on him? I mean, you see a cop that's had, let's see, this is his fourth job in 3.5 years, I think it was. We call it fourth job in 4 years. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Fourth job in 4 years, what does that tell you? That tells you don't want him for a cop in your town. Now, I will give him credit for one thing, as long as he's held a job, it's a cop. I'm anxious to hear how old Benny Buttplug is doing there at his new job. Would have been a whole lot better, just going through the police training. And I mean, you go to a doctor and get that nipple fixed. People have birth defects. Benny. Oh, you shouldn't have threatened me, boy. Benny Buttplug. Oh, yeah, Benny Buttplug. Well, y'all take it easy. Have a nice one. Bye.